doomed to repeat it.
Yes, sir.
And we know what happened to the black men in the Tuskegee experiment.
Yes, sir.
Where they injected this virus form of syphilis and didn't inform these brothers that they had this disease and sent them back out in the community,
right,
to cohabitate with the black woman and start spreading the disease of
yes,
syphilis.
Sir.
And so we see now the correlation between syphilis and AIDS. When the AIDS epidemic started out, it was among homosexuals, And then all of a sudden we find AIDS in Africa and, other parts of the world.
Right. So
how did this AIDS virus get from America to Africa when there are no homosexuals in Africa?
Right.
There's no lesbianism in Africa, So we can't put it past somebody who has the thought in their minds that the minority or the black population or the people of color are beginning to outproduce them. And so they see that their existence is going to be extinct at the rate that blacks and people of color are producing.
Right.
So they have to form some kind of a way that they can abort that and keep their race in power. And we have to remember the story of Moses in the Bible of Pharaoh.
Yes,
when
sir.
Pharaoh saw the children of Israel, Egypt, multiplying, then he called his scientists and scholars together. He said, come, let us deal wisely with them. Now, why would you have to deal wisely with a slave? Somebody who don't know who they are, don't have a knowledge of themselves. Now, you got to get your wise scientists to deal wisely with these slaves.
Yes, sir.
So, and then they sent down this decree that they were going to, kill all boy babies from 2 years old and under, So they wanted to get rid of those children that the Israelites was producing to cut off the future of Israel. And so we see the same thing happen today with our youth. And this is where our religious people have to step up to the plate and fast forward this biblical history to the present.
Yes, sir.
As the Honorable Louis Farrakhan teaches us, we have to look at things in the past, present, and future.
Right.
Because these things in the Bible, if they've already happened, then we can just put the Bible down and forget about it. But it's a lesson to let us know what did happen can happen again. And if we don't learn the lessons, then we'll find ourselves in the same similar condition.
Yes, sir.
So we see the situation today is the same as it was 4,000 years ago with Moses, Aaron, and Pharaoh. The children, black people today, are being set up for slaughter.
Yes, sir.
And we see our youth today, they have nothing in their minds but murder, violence, because this is portrayed to the movie, the television, the songs, and this is being perpetrated and being promoted by the wise scientists who see a need to get rid of us.
And in the Bible, doesn't it speak of another place where Satan frames mischief with a law or something like that?
Yes, sir.
Does it speak to something like that?
Yes,
Yes, sir. And that's exactly what this reminds me of.
Exactly.
Framing mischief with a law. All right. I'm going to read another piece, and this is on the story continues on page 32. It says, the U.S. is increasingly getting fearful that, and this is just what you were talking about scripturally, fearful that the internationalism of worldwide people will be a threat to the U.S. economic, military, and political hegemony, which is being challenged not only by Third World and Islamic world rise, but to their connectedness with Pan-Africanism in the United States.
Well, that's, in our book, the Holy Quran, that was the fear that Pharaoh had, that the children would come against him and join on to another nation and come against them. And that's why they try to keep blacks and Latinos separated and try to keep us divided from our African brothers and our Pan-African brothers, because they don't want us to come together in unity, because we all have the same common enemy. And once we recognize who the enemy is and come together in unity, then we can correct our own problems and we can take care of our own situation, and then we can prolong our lives by coming together in unity,
Yes, sir.
and unveiling the plot that is hatched against us.
And let's deal on that, Wise. I'm so glad you brought that up in respect to our Latino or Hispanic family or La Raza family, whatever label we want to put on them. I mean, how should we as a people, black people, see the brown man? Because if we listen to the media, if we listen to talk radio, you know, the biggest story on talk radio is so-called illegal immigration.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, a lot of time as a people, we so easily led into the wrong direction, hard to lead into the right. We buy right into what our enemy is saying about our brown brothers and sisters. So how should we see the brown man?
Well, it goes back to, like I said in my opening statement, about terrorism and beauty. You know, these people that they call aliens, this was their home. Mm-hmm. When Columbus landed here, he found them here.
Right.
You know, and though he said he discovered it, but he didn't discover it for us. He discovered it for himself.
Right.
But we were already here. So again, you come in, you put me out of my house and give me a piece of land over here.
Right.
Then one day I said, well, no, I'm going to go back home.
Yes, sir.
You know. So I'm coming back home, but now you're going to brand me as illegal.
Right.
You know, when you came from Europe, you know, so who is the illegal alien? You know,
right.
The brown man or the white
right.
man? But these are taxes that are used to divide us. And this is why it's so important for blacks and Hispanics, Latino brothers, to really start to learn more about themselves and their culture. Because we've all been colonized and we've all been oppressed by different groups of Europeans. Mm-hmm. You know, we've been colonized in England and the Caribbean and under British rule.
Right.
And Spanish rule. Right. You know, and so naturally, if I conquer you, then I call you what I want to. So if your
right.
name may be Kintakute, but if I conquer you, I call you Toby.
Right.
So you mine's now. You
right.
know. So the Hispanic brothers got Spanish names, but they're really not Spaniards.
That's right.
You know. So we have to have this kind of knowledge, you know, given to these brothers so that they will know that we are just one family.
Right.
You know, and that we should be together and not divided.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Beautiful. One final question on this particular piece, then we can move on. I mean, just from reading the article, a question just arose in my mind. Is this a mass attempt to destroy all groups that the American government doesn't like?
I would say yes. And the reason I say that is because, as the articles pointed out, that when you threaten somebody else's power mm-hmm. and their rule,
right.
and everybody that's in power and has a position of rulership, they want to hold on to that power and hold on to that rulership. No matter how bad they're ruling, right. they still want to hold on to that rulership.
Right.
And so the Bible says, what will a man give to save his soul? So, you know, they
right.
will do anything to
right.
save themselves.
Yes, sir.
You know, so they don't see us as human beings in the first place. So it's nothing to squash us out and think nothing about it, you know. So, yes, I do believe that it is a major plot, as Minister Farrakhan says. It's been an executive order to get rid of black people.
Right.
You know, and it's come from the highest level. And just like the time of Pharaoh, you know, it came from Pharaoh, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, and in the time of Jesus, the same order but from Herod.
Right.
You know, we got to kill all boy babies because there's a Messiah that's supposed to be born, and we don't want nobody challenging our rule.
Yes,
so
sir.
we have to get rid of him before he even come into existence.
Yes, sir.
You know.
Absolutely. Now, on that piece, whew, it's fire, brother. I want to remind our viewing audience that you can text in your question or your comment to 720-333-7271, and we'll get to it towards the end of the show. We're going to move on to the next piece, which appears on page 25 of the Final Call newspaper. And this is a very timely article because it ties into one of the most popular movies that has been out in the last couple of months. And the article is entitled, Why Did I Get Married? A Psychodynamic View. And it's written by Harry R. Davidson, PhD, one of our brilliant black psychologists, psychiatrists,